18 wheels rolling heavy through the desert night. I've been driving all day, but I won't shut her down tonight.
You guys?
No, not yet. I just sat down though.
What you having?
How about an apple juice?
Destiny, a large apple juice.
Thank you.
There you are, sir.
All right.
Do you need a menu?
Yeah, please.
Okay. There you go, sweetie.
Thank you.
All right, and you.
They were slammed before we came in.
I bet they were.
Oh man, they had so many people in here.
Wow.
I couldn't even get to the restroom. There was no.
That's how busy they were, huh?
Yeah, we got busy.
Wow. I ain't gonna pick on them too much.
You said you had cups, right?
Shows the after church crowd.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
I'm sorry. Go right
Oh,
ahead.
you're good. I know you're
Got
busy.
trapped up front.
He told me how busy you guys were, so.
All right, what you thinking?
I want this hearty breakfast slam that comes with the pancakes, right?
Absolutely. How would you like your eggs?
I want the yellow not done, or in the white cook.
In the white cook?
Yeah, what is
Okay.
that? Over medium?
Medium.
Okay.
And do you want any cheese, onions, or gravy on your hash browns at all?
Cheese. I wish you had chili. I'd have you put that on there.
Yeah, I know we didn't get it this
But
year.
yeah, have them put some onion
Onions?
on there.
Okay. I'll look like that. Definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Did you get that 4-cup?
I don't know. You know, it may be a lot of other people with the same views.
Well, the problem is, what I do is I listen while I'm going down the road. I pop out a YouTube video, but I don't watch it. I just listen.
Right. Exactly.
I get to hear a lot. So, like the 5G network. What you don't know is that they're using what's called millimeter wave technology.
Right.
So it's the same thing that when you go to the airport and they have that scanner that goes around you.
Yep.
Do not go into that.
That's a body scan.
It is, but it's really bad for your body. Anybody who stands around it, the TSA people are getting sick. And so what's happening is they got this technology. They're throwing it out there because they're trying to push this 2030 UN agenda. And part of that is this thing where they have what they call the Internet of Things.
Right.
So right now, at this point in time, they have over 300 million pages of data on you.
Right.
300 million pages of data on me. They are going to use artificial intelligence to use facial recognition on you.
Oh, Facebook is already doing that too.
They've got, well, I know, but
Facebook is
they're
doing
going
it.
to use the cameras that are out here.
Yeah.
So like when you walk into a restaurant, they'll just walk up to you and say, "Hey Tom, would you like another order of shrimp scampi?" And you're like, how do they know who I am? It's all right there. The AIs are watching your stuff. Where's your truck at?
Right there.
Warner?
Nah, the one with the Trucker Jukebox show on it.
Oh, down right here.
Oh, okay.
So, Road Warrior.
Oh, okay.
So, I will say this though. They started putting up these little towers. They got one right across from my grandmother. The problem is this technology, the wavelength that they send out the signal, there's a protein that forms in your body and it inhibits that protein. If it doesn't form properly, you can get diseases. And they can literally target a town and give that town a particular disease. They can target another town and give them a different disease, all through the airwaves, and we have no clue what's going on because we're sleeping. But there is something you can do to stop it in your house. There's a paint. You can paint on your walls, like in your bedroom, and then you paint over the top of that after it dries. It's kind of black. And then there's you want to put a mesh, like you know what a Faraday cage is? Okay. When there's an electromagnetic pulse, it's basically like they launch a nuclear missile into the sky, they blow it up. It sends out a pulse wave, okay? Anything that takes electricity, it's fried. They can knock out all these trucks right now, okay?
Right.
But if you have a Faraday cage, it's basically a metal cage that has kind of like, it's hard to tell, but kind of like, picture a mesh fence,
Right.
but around whatever it is.
Okay.
Anything that's in a Faraday cage, the electricity will go around it, and whatever is in there, it's safe, okay? It won't be, so you can make a Faraday cage on your windows to your house. Basically just having screen mesh windows with a metal frame around it, it acts like a Faraday cage. So when the signals, like say that's the tower right there, because they're that close. You'll have them in neighborhoods, like from here, you'll have another one like where that pole is, they're just that close.
Yeah.
They're gonna blanket the entire United States. They gave out a come over here. They gave out a $3 billion contract to all these cell phone providers. Now, each cell phone provider in their statements to their shareholders flat out said, this stuff is bad for your health.
Right.
And we're gonna let you know that it could affect your profits. Every cell phone company out there knows this. They all put it to their shareholders, but they still push it. They know it's bad for us. Why do you think people are getting tumors when they hold their phone up to their ears?
Well, they claim those cell phones don't have the power behind it to
If
do
every
that.
day you're on the phone like this, every day, you're gonna get a tumor, because even though at low power, you're still gonna get a tumor because of there's electromagnetic going on there. But that's just a cell phone. Wait, when they start doing these towers, now here's the other thing. Next comes the RFID chips, you know, under the skin, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Or in the forehead. Now, here's the thing. They have all your information, your credit history, your profile, your what you buy for lunch. It's all there. Those towers are gonna.
That's why I don't
go.
That's why I don't go to hospitals. I don't need a surgery.
Those towers are gonna emit a signal to your RFID chip, which is gonna activate it. So it has no battery in it. That's gonna be the battery. It's gonna basically transmit electricity to it, and they'll know exactly where you are, where you're driving, where you're doing everything.
They gotta plant that son of a bitch in you first.
Yes, I know. Which would really suck if they already had. I'd be like, oh, shoot. Anyways, so they have got plans because they're trying to manipulate the world into doing what they want. This AI thing is way out of control. There's a lawsuit going on against Google and Facebook right now because they know that they're guilty of this. They've implemented social, what do they call it? Social credit score in China.
Right.
So in China, if you don't pay your bills on time, that's a negative credit. If you drink too much, negative credit. Smoke in public, negative credit. If you tattle on your neighbor, positive credit. If you report on people, positive credit.
Right.
So your score starts going down. If your score gets too low, you can't ride public transportation. You can't take a plane, a train, a boat, nothing. You're stuck. Oh yeah. And Google is pushing that in China right now. They want to push it here.
Well, they kind of did now. They got this thing called enhanced driver's license.
Yes.
You got till January. You got to make sure it's enhanced. If not, you can't walk in a courtroom. You can't go into any federal building. You can't fly. Mine isn't yet because my license doesn't have it. I guess I'm going to have it done if I ever want to walk into a courtroom or fly a plane or.
I don't know. It's kind of a pain. But I got it because I'm headed to Paris next year for a wedding. Like I really want to go to Paris. So.
It's recording.
Hey YouTubers, how's it going?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much. There's so much. These guys are very shady and very sly. Here's something you probably didn't know. Do you realize you don't have to pay federal income tax?
That's what they say, but the IRS says you do. So how you get around that?
Well, they explained it to you. Let me take off my switcher. I'm getting kind of hot. Right?
All right. I'm gonna move over here between your truck and this truck. That way it doesn't hear the sound of my truck.
Makes sense.
It's a little quieter.
Okay, let me give you the scenario. I don't know what year we stopped the Civil War. 1865 or whatnot.
Right.
Come out of the Civil War and we are flat broke. Can't afford to run our country. So Congress at the time goes to some European bankers and says, hey, will you fund America?
Right.
And they said, sure we will, but we want a piece of the pie. They said, well, what do you want? I said, we want to form a corporation in America. They said, okay, well, what do you want to name it? They said, we want to name it the United States of America. I said, okay. They said, well, and we want a corporate headquarters, a really big one. We want it so big, we want a city. They said, well, you can't have Philadelphia, that's our capital. Well, all right, you can take this city up here, Washington. Nobody really knows anything about that city anyways, you can have that one. They're like, well, we want to be able to tax the people to pay the interest on the loan. So they said, okay, well, we'll give you this area, 10 miles around. We'll call it the District of Columbia. Anybody who lives in there, or anybody who works in there, you can tax them. They said, okay. That went on for a few years. Then it came back to Congress. That's not enough money. So Congress said, all right, well, anybody who lives in the territories, Puerto Rico, Guam, Samoa, the Virgin Islands, you can tax them. So they said, okay. It came back a few years later. That's not enough money. What do you want? They're like, we want more. So like, okay, well, anybody who lives in the 50 states who's elected to office, you tax them. Okay. Well, by this time, these bankers have come to America, have joined Congress, and they start writing their own laws. And they come up with the 16th Amendment, which basically says everybody's got to pay federal income tax. It went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, you can't do that. It's illegal because of the 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment says you can't make people indentured servants or slaves, which is what they were doing. So these guys were like, shoot, they wanted to get money. Now you got to remember, their jurisdiction was only the District of Columbia. The tax, the 16th Amendment they were trying pushing was a municipality tax on the District of Columbia,
right,
not the rest of the 50 states. But there's certain circumstances where they could tax those people. Anybody who comes from a foreign country to work in the United States, they can tax those people.
Right.
Okay? Anybody who's from the territories, they can tax them. Anybody who's elected office in the 50 states, they can tax them. If you're a natural citizen of the United States and you were born in one of those 50 and you live in one of those 50, they don't have any right to tax you federally, okay? But they're like, well, shoot, if we can't get these guys, what can we do to rip them off?
Right.
So they started lying to us. They said, well, let's form a tax club. Let's make it sound real legal. So they came up with a club. It's called the 1040 Club. So here's the deal. They said, everybody's got to join. They lied to everybody, saying everybody's got to join. So you thought that you had to join. They pressured your employer. Your employer told you, oh, you got to join. So you filled out your 1040, put your name on it. Shh. Send it in to them. Guess what? You just volunteered for the club. You didn't even freaking know it. They told you it was mandatory,
now you got to pay
they
tax.
lied. Now you're a part of the club. Every year it auto-renews. You volunteered to join the club, even though you didn't know it. If you volunteered to join the club, you can volunteer to unjoin the club. And when you unjoin, you are out permanently. The problem with other people is they're in the tax system. They're a part of it. They don't pay their taxes. They go to court. Court says, all right, you got to pay taxes, penalties, all this. And they just freaking eat you up. If you don't pay it, you go to jail, right?
Right.
Because you're still stuck in the system. Anybody who's never had a job and has never filled out a 1040 doesn't have to fill out a 1040. They still have to pay state tax, and they still got to pay all their Medicaid, Social Security. They got to pay all that, just not federal income tax. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. You know where that money's going? They are stealing from us every year $7 trillion. That money goes back to those bankers in Europe. You'll never guess who's getting our money.
Probably China or somebody.
The Queen of England and the Pope. They are taking our money every year. Now, that's a lot of money. A lot of it is then shipped back to New York, where they give it back to us in loans.
Yeah.